Have you ever felt like someone needed you, but hated you more as they got to know you? You may know exactly what I'm talking about if you've ever been around a narcissist. It can be very confusing and even painful to be in this back-and-forth relationship with a narcissist. But there's a reason for it: their skewed sense of self, and their never-ending need to be approved of. A narcissist wants your attention and hates that you can hold your own, which is a paradox. They need you to be a part of their world, but they can't stand the fact that you have your own thoughts, needs, and wants. This video will talk about how complicated and inconsistent narcissistic relationships are, and show you why narcissists hate you even though they need you. Imagine that you are always driven by the need to feel better than other people. In their heart, they think the world revolves around them, and that everyone should respect, love, and most of all validate them. It's like this inside a narcissist's head. They think they are unique and deserve praise, and they always want to be noticed and admired. But here's where the story takes a surprising turn. Narcissists are obsessed with keeping up this perfect, haughty image, but on the inside they are deeply nervous and very weak. They put on an image for the world that is really just a carefully made shield to keep their hurt ego from facing the painful truth of their weaknesses. Narcissists are afraid of being seen, that other people will see the flaws in their carefully put together front. Being validated isn't just something a narcissist wants. It's something they have to do to keep their sense of self-worth. Narcissists can't stand being criticized or turned down, that much is clear. Even the tiniest hint that their perfect image might be called into question can send them spiraling. They depend so much on this fragile sense of self, but it can all fall apart in an instant. Because they are so open to being hurt, their relationships with other people are often strange, especially with people they are trying to manage. People who are narcissists need praise and admiration very much, but they can't handle real closeness or relationship with other people. They want everyone around them to keep making them feel better about themselves, but they're afraid of being seen and understood for who they really are. People want to be loved and accepted, but they can't let down their guard enough to receive real love or care. This makes things impossible because they pull people in, but then push them away when the link gets too strong. This movie will explain why narcissists often feel attracted to and angry at the same time. You might feel like you're stuck in their web because of the strange and confusing dance of attraction and aversion they do with each other. On the one hand, they need you to boost their low self-esteem. For them, you become an important source of respect and approval that they can't live without. In the meantime, though, they hate you for the very thing they need from you. You see, when you repeatedly validate them, you reveal their flaws without meaning to. Your praise boosts their ego, but it also makes them realize how fragile their sense of self-worth is, and how much they depend on other people. They become more upset with themselves and lash out at you, but they don't realize that their anger comes from feeling unsafe. The narcissist's sense of self is so weak and shaky that they get very angry when you don't give them the constant praise and approval they need. They could say that you don't value them enough, that you take them for granted, or even that you have abandoned them. This answer shows that they can't connect the big picture image they've made of themselves with the fact that they're really empty inside. They can't accept love or care, because it would go against the false story they've made up about how important they are. They don't want to be loved for who they really are, because that person doesn't match the false picture they've worked so hard to keep up. You may now be wondering what the narcissist does when you are no longer their steady source of approval and admiration. What takes place when you stop giving them ego boosts? This is when their real anger and hate can show. Not only do they need something from you, but they also can't accept and love themselves. Because they need approval so badly, when they don't get it, they get angry and blame their own self-loathing on you. They will be angry at you for telling them the truth, which is that they are not as great or better than they think they are. The narcissist can't handle being shown how weak they are, so they get angry at you because you're not admiring them like they want you to. Let's stop and think for a moment before we go any further into this complicated and often painful relationship. To those of you who are having a hard time living with a narcissist in your life, whether it's in a relationship, at work, or in your family. Please know that you are not alone. It can be very hard on your emotions to be constantly managed, controlled, and drained by their need for approval. It is normal to feel trapped, manipulated, or even worn out by all of their requests. You should know that it's not your fault, though. Narcissists are very good at making other people feel like they are in charge of their own happiness, emotions, and health. They have an amazing knack for making you feel like you're the one who is failing in the relationship by blaming you for how they act. In fact, the narcissist is the one who needs to deal with their own problems. They are to blame for how they behave, not you. This movie will show you how this unhealthy cycle of dependence and resentment starts and why, as the object of their affection, you become the focus of their mixed feelings. You'll start to understand how the narcissist's need for you makes them depend on you for approval, which makes them angry at you for giving them what they want. Also, you'll learn how to keep yourself from going deeper into their emotional trap and take back control of your own sense of self-worth. Now that you're interested in the paradox of narcissism and how it affects your relationship with the narcissist, let's start to figure out how it all works. Figuring out these patterns of behavior and feeling is the first thing that will help you spot the manipulation and keep yourself safe. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel before we start to learn more about the psychology of narcissism, toxic relationships, and how to get your mental health back. You'll be able to see the newest material and join a community of people who are learning how to stay safe from narcissistic abuse and get their emotional freedom back by subscribing. We are here to help you heal and gain confidence in yourself. We need to talk more about why narcissists need you and can't stand it at the same time. It's important to understand this complicated dynamic in order to understand the unhealthy patterns they cause in relationships and why it seems like a never-ending cycle of admiration and anger. The narcissist can't get enough of wanting to feel loved, wanted, and most of all, better than everyone else. To keep their weak sense of self together, they need to be praised and cared for all the time. For them, relationships aren't about love, respect, or a real bond between two people. Instead, they are just a way for them to feed their ego and keep believing that they are great. Nothing is more important to an ego than how other people see them. In order for them to feel good about themselves, the people around them need to admire and praise them. But here's the catch: this need for praise doesn't come from having confidence or good self-esteem. It comes from a deep irrational fear that they desperately try to hide by making themselves look great. This false picture is weak and needs to be reinforced all the time. You can help them with this if you are their partner, friend, or even family member. They feel on top of the world for a short time when you give them the attention and praise they want. Your praise feeds their fake sense of self and gives them a brief moment of believing that they really are the better person they show the world. What has happened though when the praise ends? When proof stops being strong, that's where the narcissist's hate starts to show. Their love for you, which was never truly pure to begin with, quickly turns into anger. Their deep-seated fear of being found out is the cause of this change. It is dangerous for them to be around when you pull away, start to express your own needs and independence, and show that you have a life and identity outside of them. For the narcissist, your freedom is a direct attack on their weak ego. They can't stand it when someone else shines brighter than them, even for a moment, or when you put your own needs ahead of theirs. When they aren't the center of your attention and respect, they feel like they're not safe. This openness leads to a strong defensive response, which usually shows up as anger, frustration, and deep hatred. To understand how narcissists deal with others, you have to look at this paradox of need and hatred. They may say they love you, but the truth is that their love is only limited. It has everything to do with how well you meet their emotional needs. They think that how much you feed their ego shows how valuable you are. You will stay close to them as long as you meet their needs, as long as you continue to value and honor them. But as soon as you stop playing that part, they start to see you as a threat to their carefully built sense of self-worth. And instead of taking responsibility for what they did, They blame you. They no longer see you as someone worthy of love and respect. Instead, they see you as someone who has failed to meet their unreasonable standards. Their dislike grows for your freedom, your strength, and the fact that you don't see them as the center of your world. Your enemies see you as dangerous just because you don't fit the part they've given you. This is when the narcissist may use a variety of emotional control techniques to try to keep you stuck in their web of dependence. They could go back and forth between loving you deeply and manipulating you cruelly, leaving you in a constant state of mental chaos and confusion. This back and forth is often called love bombing, followed by devaluation. During the love bombing phase, the narcissist gives you lots of love, attention, and promises of love, which makes you feel special and loved. But this is just a trick to get you to trust them and make them feel like the most important person in your life. As soon as they make that link, they start to treat you badly. They insult you, put you down, and keep you emotionally distant. You're hooked because they keep going back and forth between these two extremes, making you wonder if they really care about you, or if their behavior is a sign of something deeper. You might feel like walking on eggshells as you try very hard to win their acceptance again. But it never seems to be enough, no matter how hard you try. You will never be able to meet their unreasonable expectations. And the circle will keep going as long as you are close to them emotionally. A lot of the time, the narcissist doesn't just hate the person who gives them mental support. It spreads to anyone who makes them feel less important than they are. If you keep up with friends, hobbies, or other things that aren't controlled by the narcissist, they might get angry or jealous. You shouldn't have a separate personality from them. In their eyes, your only job is to make them feel good, and if you try to be yourself, they will look down on you. They might try to keep you from talking to other people, or trick you into giving up your hobbies and friends. Their worst fear is that you will find happiness somewhere else, and they will do everything they can to stop that from happening. If you care about anything or anyone other than them, they will try to make you feel bad for being loyal to them. You might be wondering why narcissists need other people so badly when they hate them so much. The reason for this is that they can't find worth in themselves. Narcissists are emotionally weak, and the only thing that gives them a feeling of self is approval from other people. Without this steady support from other people, they lose their sense of who they are. As soon as you affirm them, they feel like their ego has been pumped up so much that it's about to burst. When you stop giving them that reinforcement, though, they have to face the emptiness inside. This feeling of being empty makes them angry, and they often take it out on you. That's why they hate you. It's a way for them to protect themselves before you can leave them. For both people involved, but especially for those who care about the narcissist, this circle can be very tiring. To get out from under the narcissist's control, you need to understand this relationship. You will feel less controlled by them when you understand that their need for you comes from their own fear. If you stop giving them what they want and start caring about yourself, the narcissist might get angry, try to control you, or even threaten you. You may feel these things, but they are just desperate attempts to keep you locked up emotionally. You need to understand that you are not in charge of their happiness, and that you can't fill the mental void they won't face on their own. As you break away from their need to be admired all the time, they will have less power over your feelings and more control over your own life. Narcissists hate you because they need you. End of story. They need your approval to feel good about themselves, but they can't handle being truly close to you because it makes them vulnerable. Their dislike of you doesn't show how valuable you are. It's a defense against the weak spots in their ego. They hate you more the more you depend on them. They try to control and trick you more the more you stand up for yourself. The first thing you need to do to get away from the toxic hold narcissists have on your life is to understand this relationship. Thanks for watching this movie. If you liked it, please share it and subscribe to get more videos about ego, bad relationships, and healing your emotions. Please share your thoughts and